All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the alaracanfieldshow, the Awaken Happiness Now Global Series. Thank you so much for being here with us today. And we are doing a live Q&A call with Zeenat Lakdawala today. Instead of topic, it's going to be a live Q&A. So your questions plus whatever else Zeenat wants to share. There's always so much that we can talk about. And we are not streaming live on YouTube, in case you're wondering. No, we are streaming live on Facebook today and tomorrow, and I think on Friday. So just know that that's what's happening. And we will post these videos on YouTube on the weekend. Okay. So for those of you who don't know Zeenat, I'm sure you all do, but just in case you don't, she was on the show earlier this month, and we decided for her to come back and do a live Q&A call because that show was so wonderful. There was so much to talk about. We learned so much. And so she is a spiritual artist and energy healer. She is a distinguished spiritual artist and energy healer, like I said, being the creator of the world's first light language sacred geometry crystal grids. And she is a transformational energy healer with over 10 years of experience. She is a featured international speaker and has worked with thousands of clients globally. Zeenat has a high connection with supreme consciousness, from where she receives information from various higher dimensional beings that assist her in bringing the most benevolent language of light in the forms of codes, instructions, and sacred blueprints. And this helps in the awakening of the dormant soul and high vibrational shifts that allow one to healing, renewed motivation, power, growth, and abundance, and so much more. And so if you missed the call earlier, I think it was April 12th or 11th, you can go back and watch that on YouTube. It is available there. But in the meantime, let's get started. I'm so excited, Zeenat, because like I said, we had such a wonderful conversation. I was so impressed with our conversation that we had. That's like, oh my goodness, let's chat again, because you have so much wisdom and so much knowledge to share with us. So welcome back.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It was such an amazing call, and there was so much going on with so many things were happening, and it just felt right to come back again. So thank you very much for having me once again on your call.
Oh, absolutely. So I know that today we are doing Q&A, but
yes,
the Q&A, we want to still talk about like the coasters, the calls, the programs. We want to talk about the goddess. We want to talk about all that stuff that we talked about on the first call, but a little bit in, maybe some deeper aspects of some of the items that we talked about before, right?
Sure.
And basically it's to find out more about how the divine feminine can assist us as we're moving forward, how we can have her presence being felt more in our being, especially in our power centers, right? So that we can create the life that we truly desire, right? And that is possible for all of us. And so having that connection with the divine feminine, with spirit, period, is going to help us to have more clarity, have more energy, give us a boost in our lives to help us move forward and create what we truly want, right? And what we truly our soul wants to experience, right?
Absolutely.
So so let's start talking about, let's first of all just start with, let's talk about the divine feminine power, right? That is already always flowing through us, but how can we have it become more activated, have it more present in our life so that we can, like maybe even like tangibly feel her presence in our lives, in what we're doing, and gain wisdom from her?
So as you rightly said, that the divine feminine energy flows through us in a continuous format. Now, it doesn't matter whether I am a man or a woman, the energy flows through me irrespective. So as I am talking, and as the energy of the divine feminine, and today I was working with the energy of Shahim, that is the energy of goddess Hathor, Isis, goddess Lakshmi. When these energy, they are flowing through our system or through our energy field, they only want us to be in the allowance of it. And when it is in the allowance of it, it will assist us in creation, because feminine energy is driven through the right brain, and the right brain is all about creation, manifestation. And so when the energy is allowed to flow without judgment, because the first thing that cuts off the flow of any kind of energy is the judgment. So when we let go of the judgment of it, and when the energy starts flowing through us, and when we are able to, I would say, house it or, retain it in our sacral area and clean our sacral area, irrespective whether you have the organs that a woman has or does not, it is still there in the energy form. And when you allow this energy to work with you, you are right there in creation, right there in manifestation. And only thing that it requires us to do is to be in the allowance without judgment.
And sometimes that is hard, being in allowance without judgment, to be honest.
Yes, it is difficult because from the time we wake up onto this planet, we have been told what to do. The minute we open our eyes, our parents give the name to us, then they train us when to sleep, they train us when to wake up. This much of information, and then as we go from one age to the other, there we are in a super express highway of information. And we rarely get the opportunity to look towards our own self, to what it is saying, because we are constantly in conversation with ourselves, but we are not hearing or listening to that. And I think, yes, it is one of the most important thing to identify that I am judging myself. The minute you have that awareness, it's very easy to let it go. But you need to pause. And as our earth is, as we say, accelerating, and as our earth is moving into a different dimension, when we pause and when we say, yes, I am aware at this moment, you have really achieved 99% task at your hand, because you're in awareness. And the minute you're in awareness, you are away from judgment. You know you are judging yourself. You know your higher self is much beyond this, and you can stop. You can align yourself or ground yourself, I have to say.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing, it's like I talk about this with my clients all the time. It's like you have to take a moment, you have to take a pause, you have to take a breath so that you can be aware, because otherwise our mind just goes on a track and just keeps on going, right?
Yes.
And that's the same thing with, if you want to be connecting with, and I'm saying connecting, what I really mean, focusing on having a relationship with the divine, you have to be aware, you have to be present, you have to take that pause from thinking and feeling and all that other stuff, and focusing on that connection, that relationship with her, right?
Yes, so true. It is so true.
Yeah, exactly. So again, it's important for all of us to create that relationship. I'm going to use that word from now on, relationship, because that's what it is. Engaging with that relationship, engaging with those energies that you want to bring into your life, and have that engagement with. You have to take that time away from thinking and going into your stories and going into your judgments, and like, why did this person do this, and why did this person do that, and why did I do this, and why did I do that, right? Away from all of that, and just be still for a few minutes, right? And
also,
go ahead.
Sorry. I think also when the minute we are in that awareness, that moment that I think about it in this manner, why did he or why did I? And if you can at that moment just bring into your awareness that you didn't know better, or this person doesn't know better, because whatever data we have is at that moment, and that's all is about what you can create or you can uncreate. So if we can become a little kind and compassion, and that's what the energy right now says, is that you can embody them, the embodiment of this energy of compassion, of kindness, is, I think so, most highly recommended, irrespective of where we are and who we are.
Oh, I agree totally. And I think that's what we all, most of us, that's what we're striving to do, to be the embodiment of kindness and compassion. But sometimes stuff happens, right? Stuff happens.
It will happen. It's bound to happen.
All right. So before I forget, because I will forget, because I love talking to you, Zeenat, so I'm going to forget. But if you have a question for Zeenat, you can raise your hand, or you can type your question in the chat in Zoom. I'm not taking any questions in the Facebook Live on Facebook. because I'm not there. I can't watch both things. So here in the Zoom, and it has to be a question related to what we're talking about, right? So one of the other things I wanted to discuss with you, Zeenat, too, or bring into our awareness some more, is about that reestablishing that connection to our body, right? And to our inner guidance, which we're talking about, but also to the body. So not just the divine feminine, but also to our body. Our body holds a lot of wisdom too. And we forget that, especially when we're caught up in, you know, our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, right?
Yes. I think our body, and this is what I, on a personal level, came to an understanding that how do we treat ourselves and how unkind we are to our body. It's only when I was going through a very insane project health-wise, is when I actually realized that my body knows what it requires, it knows what it wants. However, I am feeding information, whether it is the doctor who's telling me or a family member who is concerned, wants me to do something, and the body just knows, no, it is not what I want you to go through, or myself, which is the physical vessel, wants to go through it. And that's when I told my family that I'm not going to do this, you know, and they stepped back, they respected it. And I am working on the project, but in tandem with the body's need. Like, I know if it is something I'm putting inside the body, I know it is going to react, respond, and will ask me to change my method. And also, as humans, we are carrying emotions, and emotion gets translated into physical illnesses and diseases. So if we just get into the alignment of it at every time and start just paying attention, and it seems difficult because we've not done it, but it's not impossible. That's all I can tell you.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's really important to, again, that communication, that engagement, that relationship with your body, because your body is speaking to you all the time, right? And are we listening to it, right? So we are here in this reality, living this life in communion with our body, right? With our body. So it's not like the body is separate from us, but together the body is supporting us in all that we're doing. And so sometimes, it can support us better when we start to ask it questions, right? And work with it. It's so we know sometimes right away, my body does not want this thing, whatever this happens to be. It's like, absolutely not. And other times, like, we know, but we still do it anyways, right? So it's like, it's time we started to honor our body and our relationship with it as well.
So I think it is also, because from the time we start walking or we start listening, we are made to listen to external sounds. Mm-hmm. It's more externally driven. So even if the child feels that cannot have milk at a very young age, is gluten intolerant, or is lactose incapable to handle, and it says no, the parents will say you cannot go to school, you cannot. It's like you are subjected to emotional torture by parents, trauma. You are traumatizing your body because as a child, you want to be out playing in the sun. But the mother says, till you don't have this milk, you cannot go out. And the child says, but I feel so lethargic. The child can't say, I feel lethargic and my body is not feeling good after that milk. It is just throwing tantrums, and the parents are. So I think our voice, and especially in the physical reality, the truth with the sacral needs to work together. Mm-hmm. Like every mechanism in our body works together. The truth needs to be given a lot of space to speak, because if it doesn't speak, it just listens to what the advertising says to us about food, or which doctor is supposed to be relied on, or what we need to do, which vaccination we need to take. So that's where I think the discoordination starts at a very young age for us.
Well, and no offense to the parents, they were doing their best.
Absolutely.
They just shared what they were told. I mean, I tell my parents now, like, my God, don't drink milk. Like, how do you feel after you drink milk? I don't feel good after I drink milk. This is why I don't drink milk. and they're like, but you have to, milk it's very important to have milk.
It's
You have to have milk every day. Exactly. Like all that stuff. Right. And I'm like, oh my God. But it's like, no, it's not as healthy as you think it is. But anyway, whatever. So
Yes.
that's what they've learned all their lives from their parents, from their
Absolutely.
families, etc. Right. And
Yes, absolutely.
the advertising and everybody, in Canada, for example, they say, you should drink, 3 glasses of milk a day or whatever. I don't know anymore, but it's a big industry. The milk industry is very big, right? So they lobby
Very
to get
true.
their message out, which is fine. And for some people, milk is no problem, right? But for others, it is. It's an issue. It doesn't make you feel good. So again, when you
Yeah.
can, start listening to your body and start to make changes. I know little kids, they cannot, but as we grow older, we can start to say, well, this, it doesn't make me feel good. So can I try something else? And now we have alternatives, right? So we have lactose-free milk, and which I have in my cereal and my tea, and I feel so much better. I mean, I've definitely noticed a difference, so it's like,
The
there's
choice.
yeah, that choice is there. And so mom and dad, I know you might be watching, you have choice too. You can get different milk. Okay. So I know it's available in Canada too. So I'll talk to them when I'm there. But again, until if you don't know, you don't know. But once you start to know, when you start to recognize that this is how I'm feeling, this is what's coming up, then it's our responsibility to ourselves, to our body, to start to make different choices, start to look at things differently, and experiment, right? Experiment. Be open to experimentation in a healthy way, in a good way. So, and sometimes the body will, it's not just about the food though, right? So it's about for me, my body likes the sun. It likes to go outside. It likes that fresh air, right? My mom hates it. So if like when I'm with her and I go outside and sit on the porch because it's sunny and warm, she's like, oh my God, you have to go inside. It's too hot. And it's like, I like it, So it's like, she's conditioned one way, right? And me, I'm listening to what my body wants. And I know that it lights me up, gives me more energy when I'm in the sun for a few minutes. It doesn't mean hours. I'm not sun tanning, but I just need that 10 minutes, right? So listening to your body, communicating with your body, and honoring it I think are really important. And that part of that is that self-care, self-nurturing, self-love that we all talk about, right? And so that's important. And
Absolutely.
yeah, go ahead. I can talk forever about that. So
I think at that time, what comes in is the resistance to belief system, letting go of a belief system.
Mhm.
It's generational, and therefore it's like some people, we believe as humans that it's etched and it cannot be changed. And therefore we like to respect it, or we like to just go with it because it is our belief system. Otherwise, our identity is created through those belief systems.
Yeah.
And when we start listening to a different communication, like when you're listening to light language, or because that's the case in point, it's something very different. So it's breaking your belief system, because it has no forward, it has no end. It is as is. So therefore, when you are in this threshold of breaking a belief system, one must really understand that this belief system, if it is contributing to me, this is adding a value to me, and therefore I can go ahead with it.
Yeah.
And the reason why people don't let go of belief system is because of the fear. So the minute the fear is there, the belief system becomes more concrete, because that gives me identity, that gives me who I am.
Mhm.
And again, I come back to the saying is that since we are accelerating in our consciousness, the who I am is going to be one thing that we need to drop, the facade, because it's nothing but the facade. It's nothing. It's sometimes I feel it's very easy said, because if I just can accept it's everything is illusion, then the question is that why do I wake up? Because everything is an illusion.
Yeah.
So then and this was one of my questions, if everything is an illusion, then what am I doing, types? And that's where your purpose of whatever we say, self-love or self-care or understanding or being a better version of what we are of today, I think that's the task then. And that becomes easier.
And that's the whole identification with the self, that's huge, especially in this industry. I mean, I was just looking at, for example, all the I am statements. It's like, I was looking at that, it's like, oh my God. Every time you say I am something, you're solidifying that identification with yourself, instead of recognizing that that's not you, so it's like, I just got that recently, and I'm like, oh my God, I was just like blown away. So I do not say I am statements anymore. It's like, I'm not that's not who I am. Oh my God. So anyways, that's a whole other topic of conversation.
Absolutely, sure. Absolutely.
But when it comes to belief systems, the work that you do with the light language, for example, that you were just talking about, changing belief systems, like you said, is difficult, but the belief systems are what are keeping you stuck in your reality that you have right now, right?
Yes.
So your belief systems is what is creating your reality. That is what's being projected out as your reality based on your belief systems. So if your reality that you like, that you're living in, you don't agree with, like there's issues, you need to change some belief systems, right? So can you talk a little, and easier said than done for sure, but can you talk a little bit more about light language? Some people who might be listening may not be aware of what light language is and how it can change belief systems or help to drop some belief systems that are not empowering.
So light language is sound, and sometimes there are in different form light language comes through. To me, it comes through in the voice. I speak the light language and I write the language of light. And when you see them, they look gibberish, or when you hear them, it is you feel like, oh, what something is garbling. The greatest point about light language is that it moves into your energy field because the mind is not able to interfere. It cannot comprehend. It does not know what it is. So it just moves into your energy field. And light language comes from the planes of beyond our earth, beyond a dimension of earth. It comes from various gateways, star places, galaxies. And when they are not something for our common mind. If I say common mind, no judgment attached to it, but it is that the mind cannot comprehend what I am saying. And since it is because of this nature, it moves from my higher self, it comes directly into my energy field. So whether I see it or I hear it, it comes into my energy field, and through my layers, it moves into my skin and into my blood. And when it moves into my blood, it starts moving into my cellular memory. And in the cells, it starts working on my DNA. So a normal human DNA is, we have 2 strands, and science have now proven that we have 12 strands, of which we only use 2 strands. And there's a different discussion on why the 10 strands are not working. But we are only using 2 strands. And in these 2 strands, we are only consuming 10% of its energy, which means 90% is not used by us. And so when you receive light language, which is coming from the space of unconditional love, and through this channel and through the cellular memory, it starts going and working with the DNA and starts instructing. The instruction is going right directly without any filters. And when you are in that, it is upgrading your blueprint. It is reminding you of the being that you are, from the place where you come from. And it allows you to disintegrate things that are not required and starts bringing in that separation. It starts reducing the separation that we have between ourselves and our higher self. And it's like a binder, because we are reminded, and especially when you have, when you're going through projects like injustice, when you're going through projects of distrust, and when you're just listening to the MP3s or you're just going through the MP3s, it makes those subtle shifts that your energy shifts, and the person that when you start meeting people that come in your space are of that caliber. So if you're working with the issue of or a project of distrust and you can't trust people and you're listening to the MP3 or you're working with light language in whichever form, you start, the energy shift happens. You are no longer, cognitively, you cannot understand this, but you start seeing that people are more kind to you. People are more receptive to you. People are offering things to you. You are more in the receiving of things. Your energy is feeling different, and you're releasing. And you're releasing at the core. You're not releasing at the superficial level. You're releasing from the core where all memories are stored, all point of views are stored, all judgments are stored. So the light language actually is doing the drilling work. It's cleaning and it's clearing and it's releasing. And it's, yes, things come up. You feel little irritant. You feel that the body is, feeling that the body is bringing up some rash, or you feel that the body is heating up. To remind yourself that you're releasing. These are your detox symptoms, but it will pass.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
yeah, that's
Beautiful.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was really important, I think, for people to understand what happens when they are listening to light language through you, or they have one of your products that has light language. So for you, it's written and it's oral, right? Verbal.
Yes.
And so there's different ways that, you work with light language. So it's important. So like, for example, here I have the written light language on here that you can see, right? And so it starts to change who you are, and it starts to change your reality, right? So that's important for everyone to know, that even if you don't understand it, you can't figure it out, it's okay. It will start to change your reality. It starts changing you at the DNA level. And at the core level, right? So thank you. I think that was important for people to truly understand what light language that you work with does, or for how it functions, right? So you were just talking about receiving, right? And so one of the points that we talked about last time was about saying yes, right? Yes to sexuality and pleasure, yes to passion, vitality, power, creativity, emotions, feelings, receiving. And a lot of people are still not able to receive. We say it consciously, yes, I'm willing to receive, I'm willing to receive, yes, 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 yes. But if we truly were, 100%, we would have whatever we wanted, right? So there are some beliefs in the way of us receiving.
There is so receiving comes from our left side, and this is the feminine side. And so as we say is that it's a flow, but we do not realize that it is a flow. It is that you give with your right, because this is in your control. It goes out. You must open yourself to receiving, because I come across few clients who are unable to ask, and asking is also receiving. Because again, as I said, the truth needs to be activated. Even if you don't want to ask from human beings, you want to ask from the universe, God, give me this. You need to, action is on this truth energy. So when you start receiving, you can bring it here and keep, share, and then again give. So it's a flow. But our belief system, because again, we will keep going back to our parents, and there is no right and wrong about it, because our parents have learned it from their parents, and from them from their parents. So what I have seen over the years is that when we have been told that asking is weakness, we have been told you have to be individual, you have to be independent, you have to have your own money, you have to have your own car. We have been told to become so independent that we feel that asking is a weakness, and if people are going to take us as vulnerable, we don't like to be looked at vulnerable. And I feel that is a very important quality, because if I can show my vulnerability, I can show my strength also. But if I cannot show my vulnerability, I'm actually again living behind a veil. I'm hiding behind something. And when we start working on this aspect, so I do give my clients few exercises to do on how to build up the receiving. What are you going to give yourself? So first we need to give self. In every aspect of my work, it is first self, then the world. So what are you giving to yourself? Because you are the one who's going to receive also. So whether it is you're giving money to yourself, or you're going to, and I do not use material in this, because material, you know, when we say giving means going to the parlor or going to a salon and having a spa day, that is a part of it. However, it's not the giving. But if you're giving attention to yourself, are you giving, are you giving the voice to yourself? So if you are in an uncomfortable situation, are you allowing yourself to say no? Because this is one of the things in receiving, is when do you say no? And if we do not have that balance of when we say no, it's very difficult to say to yes to things. So in cognitively, yes, 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 I love. But can I really receive what I'm asking for? Can I say no? Can I put healthy boundaries with my no? Because sometimes I have come across clients who can just keep giving. They give, and they give, and they give, but they don't ask. And if they ask, they start finding out ways to give back again, because they have the fear of keeping, the disconnection in the heart center, because there is shame, there is blame, and we've been told we don't deserve to have, or we don't deserve to ask and keep. So we have to find ways to let it go. And I have seen some of my clients who have to really have difficulty in keeping, keeping. Okay, I'll keep it and then I will distribute it. Or I had a client who would, before the salary comes in, would start saying where all he has to go and spend the money, or who all he has to pay, or what is the kind of EMI. And then we started doing this practice where I would say, when the money comes into your account, 24 hours, you will not think about who you have to pay. Of course, we have to pay the bills, but 24 hours, you will let the Lakshmi, the money, stay in your account. And gradually, this person started seeing the difference, that the money flow was more constant and that it could stay. And then after paying bills also, there was some left. Otherwise, it would go to a balance zero, no money, and again striving, because the fear of keeping the money, or fear of asking, how can I ask? So and when we consciously start doing that, I have seen huge shift for people. And you also receive things in intangible manner, like compliments. That is money, compliments, or somebody sending you flowers, or somebody telling you, you're looking pretty. All of these are also attribute of receiving. Sometimes when I say to people, you have a lovely voice or a beautiful, oh my God, it's like difficult for them to say, are you really saying the truth? Am I really looking pretty? I'm like, yeah, you look gorgeous. But we have this preconceived notion because we didn't hear enough that we look pretty. We didn't say enough to ourselves when you look into the mirror that I am pretty. And we have a preconceived notion of what is pretty. So receiving compliments is also so difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree. And so, we all should start by complimenting ourselves every day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, when you just look into the mirror, and if you can, and again, some exercises are a little difficult, but it's possible. When you just look into the mirror and you just say, I love you, and just walk away. You have had a contact with your eye. You are looking into your soul and you're saying to yourself, I love you. And that's it. Your day is done. Now, if it doesn't matter, the body has heard you, your consciousness has heard you, your subconscious has heard you, and it only depends on you as an energy field. So if you've said, I love you, the energy that you're giving out is of joy.
Yeah, beautiful. Yes, we can all do that. We should all do that, definitely. I know sometimes people have a hard time with the I love you. You can say, I accept you. I think you're great. Something to that effect, whatever, use words or energy that works for you to begin with. And then eventually, gradually move up to the I love you part. Okay. I love that. All right. So we also talked about the sacral womb last time, and that was a huge topic for a lot of people. And yes, especially because there's so much wounding in our womb from this lifetime, other lifetimes. So your light language and your products, your programs, your MP3s, everything doesn't just work for this lifetime, it works for previous lifetimes as well, right?
Yes, it's across time space dimension, including this one.
Yeah.
So the minute you listen to the MP3, or even if you just walk with the coaster, or you charge the water with the coaster, what it does is that when you drink that water, it goes into your, again, what we are 89% water, we are water bodies, and blood flows through us. And when we drink water, the water interacts with the blood and it flows into your DNA. And there again, it starts healing the womb. I have seen that when people start working with the coaster, they come back telling me that their creativity has improved significantly. Now, creativity is not just the creativity that we have in our mind, that it is painting and drawing and singing. It's not from the fine arts perspective, but even in your business, you need to be creative to keep inventing yourself. And I have on my own front seen that since the time I've started working with the coaster, my point of view to create products or programs have become very different. They are more long-term format. Earlier, I would do just one call or something. Now they are coming into a format which is very different. I am being taken to places to learn new programs, or I am taken to places to learn how to do something new. So I see that once when I decide that I need to do something, things start showing up with that effect. So whether it is I need to upgrade a skill, or if I need to learn something new, it creates that or facilitates that. It will take you to the right places, right people will start showing up, right attitude towards, because one of the things we must remember is that when we are cleaning our house, if I look at our sacral womb, it's got most energy that I see in the sacral womb of whether either gender is of gray color. And sacral is supposed to be orange. And what I see is in most people, it is gray or it is brown or black. Now, when you're cleaning that, it's like you're decluttering. And when you're decluttering, things are going to come to surface. You will have a call from your ex. You will have your current partner telling you you are doing something incorrect. All this is your reward that shows to you that it's coming up for cleaning. It is the junk that I do not require. It is something that I need to let go. Also, when women are going through their menstrual cycle, and in the menstrual cycle, when they start feeling that this is not what I'm worthy of, especially during the menstrual cycle, women feel they're not worthy about, or they feel, constantly they feel tired, which means that there is some energy stored in the womb that is rejecting the womanhood itself. We are not accepting the physical aspect of us, and we are trying to be the masculine only, not realizing that the balance has to be there of the both. And the struggle, and that struggle is what will come to surface for it to be released. And so you constantly need to work, constantly need to clear for it to become orange or even brighter, gold. And it has a direct relationship with my sacral. Sacral has my direct relationship with my solar plexus, my self-esteem, my confidence. If my sacral is not in that energy of creation, I'm going to be only in the space of self-sabotaging. And most women, or even I have seen men, are unable to bring forth what they think they can create is because self-sabotaging, the need to be invisible, the need to be unaudible is very high. So yes, when you're working with these, they really do help you, assist you, and they really take you miles ahead.
I love that. And I was going to say with the creativity, it's not just business and it's not just art like painting and drawing, it's your life. It's always about creating your life, your whole life, right? Every aspect of your life, relationships and everything. Okay. So it's not just business. For those of you who are like, I don't have a business, it doesn't matter. It's about your life. how you are living your life. Okay. Just, yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you for that.
Yeah, just sometimes, clarity for some people is important. All right, all right, so any questions from anybody? I know that Destiny has a question, but I don't think it's quite appropriate because I don't think you're doing like checking people's field and what's going on with them.
No.
But if anybody else has any questions about what we talked about today, such as like the divine feminine, the divine goddess, saying yes to receiving, and even receiving, like we talked about abundance and prosperity, but it's also about receiving love, right? It's about receiving friendships, receiving relationships, receiving everything in life, right? So it's not just about one thing, right? It's about whatever it is that you desire. It could be peace. I could really use some peace these days, right? So it could be about that, right? So whatever that happens to be. So receiving in all areas. And I think basically what I'm trying to say is that your work, the coasters, your clearing calls, your light language MP3s, etc., they work on every aspect of your life.
Absolutely.
Right? So even though we're talking about divine feminine energies, but it's for every aspect of it, because the divine feminine energies are in every aspect of your life.
Yes, absolutely.
If we did not have the divine feminine energies running through this physical form, we would not exist. Okay, we would just be like dirt. We would not exist. Okay, so like we couldn't do anything. So it's important to recognize that when we're talking about, it's about every part of your life, your health, your wealth, your relationships, your, whatever else is going on with you, right? Your learning, your education, like whatever it happens to be. I mean, I just feel like there's so much that people are experiencing in life. It's not just one aspect, right? So it's every aspect. And it starts to make those changes gradually. You might have some, like you were saying, those toxic releases, etc., but they don't last, right?
They don't. And it's coming to the surface. We say thank you for it to arrive on our surface because it's ready to release, which means you are ready to let it go. You're ready to part ways with it.
So then it's important to not go into judgment of it. Like,
yes.
Right? So it's important to say like, oh my God, why is this happening? No, it's like, oh yeah, I'm releasing, I'm clearing. All that stuff that was inside me that wants to change and be released, it's releasing. Whew, I'm going to let it go.
I think most of us, what we get entangled is with this question of why me? Or why is it happening? Mm-hmm. I think if we can only look at this question and say, how does it get any better than this? And this is a different modality altogether. But when we just know how to just change this question, rather than saying why, to how does it get any better than this, you're not holding any judgment. You are saying, I am ready to move and I'm looking for a better option. And universe understands this language very well. Because we say that, doesn't the universe know what I want? It knows what you want, but your energy is saying something else.
Yeah.
You are in the why. And if the question is how, the universe will say, here, take it. I'm giving it to you right away. And we are stuck with the why. Yeah. So I think when we just move from the why, the how really helps.
I always say that's the same sort of things. Like, don't ask why, because the why doesn't matter. But it's like, where do you want to go from here? What do you truly want, right? And ask the universe to show you. Okay, universe, show me. This is what I want. Show me. Bring it to me. Like, how. I don't say how does it get better than this anymore, but you can say that and see how that makes you feel, right? So Absolutely. As long as it makes you feel expansive, because asking why, it's automatically going to make you feel down. You're going to go into judgment. You're going to, all that wonderful stuff that we don't want.
So if you look at the why, it's like a contraction.
Yeah.
And the how is like, it is an expansion. So if we can just understand the difference of this, that I don't want to contract, but I want to expand, and how it is, how.
Yeah. Show me. So, because sometimes if I ask how, I go into like, oh my God, I don't know how. So I go into start thinking like, how am I supposed to make that happen?
So I'll give you one tip on that. So if you don't know the how, you ask the universe, how do I do this? It will show up, because the job of the universe, see, we don't give enough credit to it, because we are, with our mind, we want to have all solutions, but we don't realize that we have only data of this much. The universe has the data of much beyond. It has more tools than we can even imagine. So if I can delegate this, and that's where corporate helps, when you learn to delegate it out, it will come back.
I'm very good at delegating, but I never thought of it that way.
So why? So then let's try delegating it to the universe.
Yes, and so the important, one of the important pieces here is when you're asking how, you're not asking your mind. You are asking the universe, right? You're not talking to yourself. You're talking to the universe. I'm going to delegate to the universe. Yes.
Yes to that.
Yes, absolutely. So Kristen is asking the question, is the process of changing generational beliefs supposed to be exhausting, or does the fatigue mean it's being addressed in the wrong way?
So there are two things to it. If when we are working on the generation, the great thing about our work, or any work that you do in healing, it comes back 10,000 folds. It is making the shift in your energy. It is definitely making the shift. It is clearing whatever you are holding on to. And that process can be tiring, because your energy is getting a little depleted, or you're taking in new energy. So the body is trying to align that new energy. So it will require you to rest. It doesn't mean it is wrong. It doesn't mean, it's like when you go in for a surgery, next morning you don't go out to do your work. You rest out, because the body is getting itself back into the alignment. And that is what I have seen with energy work also. So when you are feeling you're exhausted, it means you're releasing. Now, when the release has happened, the body needs to realign itself, because there is room or space created. And when in that space, when you're adding new things, it is just trying to bring it into its alignment. So that is what it is. Yeah. And exhaustion and fatigue. Now, when you look at it, oh my God, I'm going to be so tired. What it is saying to you is that it has come to you in your space is because you're ready for it. That is the message that you need to drive out. Not that, oh, if you look at my family, personally, if I am doing the healing work, or I am doing any clearing, it is not only benefiting me, it is benefiting my 7th generation that was, and my 7 generations to come. So my physical body is going to be a little tired. And if I only can do it with this point of view, I am doing it for myself, and thereby others are benefiting, rather than why can't they do it? Then you're in the judgment of it. So I am interested in myself. I'm interested in my well-being. And when I do the healing work, it gets tiring. But then I sleep it out. And I tell myself, I deserve this. Because if I had gone in for a surgery, I wouldn't be running and doing household work. I would be resting it out. Yeah. And so that kindness, that required kindness is that self-love. That you say, okay, I'm going to sleep without the guilt. Guilt-free sleep.
So it's about the body, because we're processing through the body, right? The healing is happening through the body, and the body can only do so much at a time. So of course it gets tired, and it needs to rest and integrate all the changes as well, right? So as we're releasing, we're also now integrating the new upgrades and alignment as well at the same time. So that's double the work that it's doing, okay? So definitely be gentle with your body, and recognize that when you're tired, it's like, thank you, body. I know you're doing a lot of work, right? Thank you, body. You're doing so much work. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And yes, you're doing it for yourself. Yes, you're doing it for, 7 generations back, 7 generations forward, but you're also doing it for the collective. And, like sometimes people need to hear that as well, that it's also affecting the collective, because everything you do affects everything, right? So, but it all starts with you. And I was saying to my membership last night, it's all about you. Take care of you. Everything else will get taken care of.
Absolutely.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Kristen, and don't judge the poor body is doing so much to help us. Right. So just be thankful and grateful, and it'll pass. Like sometimes I know for myself, when I do a lot of healing, I'm not the type that takes a break, but sometimes my body will be like, you need to rest. That's enough. No doing work today. So then I will do less on the day after I've done a lot of healing work. It's like, okay, I'm going to take it easy today. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just doing minor stuff, right? Because I know that once my body's rested, my emotions will also be rested. My mind will also be rested. And then I'll be able to move forward with more ease. So yes.
Also, when you're doing so much of work for healing yourself, or you're doing work, one must do a little bit of protection, because that helps the body to sustain. It will bring lesser and grounded, because what you're doing is releasing is going where? It's going into the earth.
Yeah.
So when you're grounded and you release through the ground, you are not burdening your physical body that much. So if you can stay grounded, walk a little, move into the gardens, it really helps.
Get some sun, just 10 minutes.
Absolutely.
10 minutes a day is not going to harm you in any way.
It will increase your vitamin D.
Exactly. So you talked a little bit about protection. So let's talk a little bit about that as well. So
sure.
What would you recommend? Because like, let's face it, some of the people, in my community are on these calls every day, not just my calls, but other people's calls as well. And so we do get affected even in these types of calls by all the energies and clearings and all that stuff as well, right?
We are energy, period. And whatever is going out is also coming back. And whatever I am right now vibrating with, I'm only going to attract that and multiply that. So when you have to do protection, like right now, when you're getting onto the call, and if you just call on your angels, or you call on there are so many methods, and I can just say a few over here, is that when you call on Archangel Michael, his work is to give protection. So if you just tell him to just wrap you in his blue rays or his blue cloak of protection, and to cut off any energy that is of not love and anything else, to just cut it off, it will do the work. You will not feel tired. Secondly, if you're doing a lot of energy work, you're communicating with your clients constantly, keep a tourmaline, black color tourmaline on your desk, even when you're working with your computer, because there are electromagnetic waves that are coming through your energy system. Fantastic. Awesome. Or the obsidian. It's a beautiful stone to be carried along, or to be kept in the house. Keep work with I feel tourmaline is very, very strong and very, very powerful. It does a lot of work. Protection with angels does a lot of work. And there are a few MP3s that I have created just for releasing psychic attacks or evil eye, or even just to protect the aura or clearing of space, because I feel that clearing of space is just not your physical space, but your physical body and things that are happening inside your physical body. So I have worked with these energies that I work with constantly, and they are sometimes the MP3s just play in the background throughout the day. Yeah. Even when I'm doing a call, like I'm on a client call, and the MP3s are just in the background and they are doing their work, and I feel myself less tired. Sometimes, yeah, there are days when I have not done and I need a break.
Absolutely. And so, this is also a part of the self-care, self-nurturing, being aware of what you require and being aware of what is happening in your field and, in your space as well, right? Your physical body and your physical space and your energetic space. So yeah, it's important. But, work with it, but not out of fear, but just as it's a tool, it's a resource.
It's a tool, absolutely.
The
minute you bring in the fear, the energy will become very different. The fear will multiply it, because then you are only constantly fearing that, oh, I didn't do it. And also our mind is so beautiful. It will say you didn't do it, and therefore this is happening to you. No, it has nothing, no correlations. There is no correlation between the two. I didn't do it because I didn't feel like, and it happened. So what?
Yeah.
It's just bound to happen. So it happened.
Yeah, exactly. And things, sometimes things do happen. It's okay. You just, then you do something about it, right? So then once you're aware of it. Okay, so if there's any more questions, just raise your hand or type your question in the chat. Again, something specific to what we're talking about, something that can help everybody at the same time, information, wisdom, etc. Okay, Destiny's has her hand raised. Destiny, you want to unmute yourself?
Hi.
Hi.
Hey. Hi,
Hi,
Laura.
Liz.
Hi, Destiny.
Hi,
What's your
Zeenat.
question? Something general for everyone to be able to receive
Okay.
from.
I was wondering if I seem to be I'm wondering if she could help with us stabilization and a grounding and maybe like a heart opening. Because I'm like feeling, yeah, like a lot of energy back here as well. But yeah, I think some stabilization and grounding would be helpful.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that'd be
So,
helpful for
Destiny,
everyone.
what I would request you to do is just keep your feet on the floor. And when you're doing the work of this kind, I would request you that avoid opening the heart, because if you haven't stabilized yourself, then opening of the heart would mean that you're calling in for energy that may not be very healthy for you.
Okay. Well, we don't want to do
Okay,
that.
so yeah, just so whenever you are feeling that there is a flow of energy happening and you're not feeling too good about it, I would request you to concentrate only on the grounding and protection. So overall grounding and protection, and it will do the work, whatever it is required for your highest good.
Okay, very
Okay.
good. Thank you.
Okay, so just closing your eyes. Mutu la tite sa tite te loto o shetono otono shatata te ete la tite keto otolo ulti ete na tete keto otolo tono kotolo tanatata natana hetana tanatana tata kotolo toto shatapasha samatama to otolo kota patame lamatama tama kotolo topoto yotoro poto etama etomo otono 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 kotono kotanata na anana hana mahana 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 mo kotolo to otolo toto toro to otolo toro tono kotoro kotolata. Nasatayata nasayatarata yatana sayatana motono kotolo tono kota mata matama. So calling upon Archangel Michael. To you sayatala yadanami yoduno koto, calling upon the energies of Lumerian. I'm calling on the energy of Tourmaline. I'm calling on the energies of obsidian. Tapiyutulu yadanama tapiyusunu yudunu makatapi yadana hinamishavsi yadana makati yudunu kutu yudunu mukata yatala yuduru kutu yuduru yadana yarabari yadara parakata yadana yunukutanata. Lari yadana manahana makatala rukoto. So what I would like you to do is to imagine that you're zipping up your energy, because your energy field seems to be very open. So just imagine yourself that you're zipping from the base, from the root, taking the energy and zip it like you're zipping your coat and bring it till your mouth. So taking it from your clavicle and just bringing it up and zip it. Lamayata para puputuru kuturu tusha samaka yata namukuturu tusha sayata namakatapi yudunu mukuturu kutuyata lata yata nahana makatalara pataka yada namakatapi yudunu mukuturu kuyutana hana makatalara yadana nahana. You need to do a lot of grounding, my love. You need to do a lot of protection, because your energy, your aura is little kind of open. You need to do a lot of zipping up. Namatama samatama hasha samatama hasha samaha namakato lorukoto. And one more way of zipping up is taking your middle finger, okay, keeping it on your forehead, and a middle finger, and keeping it on your navel, and now just plugging it up, pushing it and plugging it up, like you're switching it off, like you're switching off your energy. Namoto pasamata pakayata mahashama samakotoloro kotoloro apahasha samahanama kotoloro kotapa ashama samata mata masha samakotoro kotoloro lara yata lara yata lara yata lara yatana hanama lara yata lara yata lara yada lara yadana hanama kata la adara yada lara de yadara dara hakata yadana kata. Gentle breath in and breathing it out.
Can we zip up? Well, it feels like the back of my energy is more open than the front, and I don't know why.
So Destiny, this is something you have to keep doing regularly. You have to keep zipping it up. You have to do more of that. That's what Zeenat was saying. But for everybody, this was a great practice that we can start to do every day. But do more of that grounding, more of the zipping up, and that should help.
Well, specifically the back of my neck feels open.
Tatito. Actually, I feel that you need to do a lot of protection work, my dear. There is That's what is coming up very strongly for you.
Okay.
Tutu uta elatu utu nota tetalati tete itoto toloto tete sete itala iteshesenekata. Work with Archangel Michael to sit on your back and to release and destroy, uncreate all energies that may be coming into your space. To help your neck. Neck is what we talk about stability. Neck, you know. So wherever it is that you have been just saying yes to things, active, passive aggressive, perhaps that energy is showing up right now.
Thank you, Zeenat. Thank you.
You,
Thank
God
you,
bless
Alara.
you, my dear. God bless you.
Awesome.
God bless you.
Thank you, Destiny. So that should help everyone as well. So thank you. So there's a question from Manisha. She said she was always in fight or flight, in her opinion, and she needs to surrender more and play more. Yes, for sure. Doing more fun stuff and believe in divine timing. Yes, definitely. Definitely do more fun stuff, surrender more, play more. Absolutely. And then she's asking, do we need to cut cords too after the calls? Like these calls or Zeenat's calls, Manisha? You're talking about all calls, right? I'm assuming.
Actually, the cord cutting is required when you are doing, I feel cord cutting is to be done with not all the calls, but when you're protected, then you don't need cord cutting. But if you are looking at a project where you are finding yourself into an unhealthy relationship with people, then you need to start doing cord cutting. And that is what is required. But with our calls or with any other calls that you get onto, all you need to do is keep yourself, your energy field protected. That is fine. But if you feel like, oh, this was very heavy, and maybe you picked up, then also you may try to, but you can tell us how you feel about it. But otherwise, I feel for calls like these, or when you interact with people, it's better to just have our energy field covered.
Awesome. Thank you. Good. Thank you, Manisha, for that question. Because I know for myself, I have moved away from cord cutting. Just for me, I've moved more into transmutation of the cords because we're all connected. Like it doesn't matter if we say we're cutting cords, we're still all connected. But for me, it's about transmuting that relationship to a higher vibration, a higher frequency. That's me. It's just something that I do. All right, anything else? So I know that we want to talk a little bit about the packages as well. So we'll take a minute and talk about that. And then if anybody has any questions, you can type in the chat or raise your hand, okay? I'm going to share my screen, hopefully. I'm going to share my screen, hopefully. One sec. Okay. So awesome. You can see my screen now. So
Yes.
There are 3 packages that are available, and I'm going to ask Zeenat to go through them briefly.
Okay, so our package 1 has got the coaster, and it has got the energy powerful boosters. It has the Facebook groups as a support. And I am also going to be doing the pre and post program. So I will be sending in the start of the program. We are going to be starting our calls on May 3rd. So before that, I'll be sending it to everyone a questionnaire, which you can fill it up, and then you can start the work of listening to the MP3s. And then after 21 days, see how you feel, what's coming up for you. And there is also a bonus MP3, which is of a limited time period. In package B, you'll get everything of package A. Plus, there are calls that are there, group calls, which are 4 group calls of around 45 minutes. And each group call is concentrated on various aspects, starting with our organs and going into the chakra systems. These calls are sometimes it's a group call, so there are going to be energy that I'll be bringing in. There will be a lot of interaction on these calls. Other than that, we have everything I've already mentioned, and the package C has everything of package A and B, plus a one-on-one session with me of 30 minutes to go deeper and see where is the core, perhaps that needs attention. And we look into that and do clearing of whatever comes up during that time. So this is very briefly telling you about the calls.
Yeah. And of course, in all three packages, the payment plan is available. And if you are an Inner Circle member, free or VIP, please do use your gift code of 10 or 25%. And of course, there's so much more information on the webpage, so please do check that out. And if you have any questions, here's a picture of the coaster in case you want to see what it looks like, right? Zeenat holding the coaster. It's so pretty. Oh my goodness. And there's, it's all light language within the coaster. So it just looks pretty, but there's there's light language embedded and written on the coasters as well. So yeah, and of course it's going to be shipped. That is a physical item. It's going to be shipped. So we will need your address, physical address, so that we can ship it to you. And then of course, all the information about the boosters, the booster MP3s are all there, all the information about the calls. Again, the calls are starting next week. The 4 live Q&A calls are starting next week. So take a look at those. And then of course, the personal session with Zeenat is also very important. And it's she's when she's working with you one-on-one, it's totally different than in a group call like this, or in one of her group calls. It's like it's all about you, and it's all about what you need and what's coming up for you, and what clearing needs to happen, and what that core wound is. There's so much that happens. I remember my personal session with Zeenat was amazing when we had it. And it's like it happens so quickly because she's able to tune in really quickly, and using light language, using her tools, using her wisdom, she's able to start working on whatever that issue is to help you clear that. So all of that is available for all of you. Again, the live group calls start next week, May 3rd. So you definitely want to be on those, but of course they'll be recorded. So if you can't make it, they'll be recorded. Anything else you wanted to share about the packages, Zeenat?
I think one thing I would like to address or mention over here, that each MP3 has been downloaded or has been given to me is through the channel of healing, and that has been the very important aspect. Whether it's healing the entire womb, it is about holding the position. It is about releasing the trauma, the abuses that is you may be carrying in this lifetime or carrying across lifetime. One thing that also came through very, very strong when I was doing the downloads was that the releasing of blame and the releasing of shame. Mm-hmm. These two just make us, they just immobilize us. They keep us stuck. And we tend to create that, it just keeps going round and round, and there is no breaking point for it. And we sometimes don't like to take the responsibility. And on the path that we are on, the first thing that one needs to do is taking on responsibility, which does not happen. And we find ourselves, we are going into this entire shame, we're going into this blame and not rising out of it. Mm-hmm. So these MP3s were also downloaded when I was on my trip. I was doing a spiritual trip to UK, and with the energy of Mary Magdalene and at various pyramids where we went, I was amazed with that energy of Michael and Mary Magdalene, and their ley lines through which the MP3s were downloaded was so beautiful. So these are very, very powerful MP3s. And in fact, when I returned back home is when I was allowed to work on the coaster. So I started the work on the coaster before my trip. And then there was a pause of months together. And I could not understand why I was not given the instruction to go forward. After I completed my trip, after I did the downloads in the light language, and I came back, is when I was given a further structure to how the coaster is going to be shaping up. And the colors, oh my God, I just cannot believe the colors. And also the medium. I was earlier working with a different medium, and these coasters have a completely different medium. They are on a different texture paper, they are on different colors. And I was just amazed with the upgradation, which I say when we experience our upgrade. I could see the upgrade that happened on the coaster and the upgrade that happens on the MP3. So it's like very real. It's extremely real. And
so you were supposed to
sorry.
go on that trip and experience those sites and the
Yes.
energies of Mary Magdalene and Michael and the ley lines. You're supposed to have that information and those energies so that you could embed them into the coasters.
Absolutely. And I'm saying the MP3s also, they came in so much with so much of love, like when you're looking at your physical body, women, when we're looking at our physical body, and we want to give our prime work is of birthing. It's not physical giving birth, but birthing as in energy. And when it is got fibroids, and when there is got any of these of PCOD, PCO, you cannot birth because that is the stuckness. And you need to release that energy. Yeah, I'm not saying you must not go and meet your doctors, but with your medical, you need to have something which is for your emotional. Because the fibroids are not physically just present. It is an impression of your emotion. It's coming through your emotion, and now it's created a form of fibroids or endomite. Whatever you say, it's energy manifesting in a physical body.
Yeah.
So, and also for us as women, when to say no? When do you put a no? How do you create a healthy boundary? It is so important. And these MP3s really help you with those circumstances through those learning. It's like your learning curve. And it's just so beautiful. And I simply love the way even the package came up with the calls. I was like, and I must tell you, this is like for the community, for the Stellar You community, the way the entire package has come up. The group calls are very different from the group calls I had done earlier. And the way I've been asked to look at the sacral womb very differently. So it's very exciting. And I hope to start the calls on 3rd of May, and we'll see how it helps us healing in the physical as well as in our emotional body.
Yeah, because all of physical issues begins in the emotional body, right? So the healing has to happen both on the physical level and the emotional level, for it to be fully, completely healed, etc. So yeah, thank you. And so this, what that also teaches us is how important our emotions are, meaning we should really be aware of what we are feeling, our emotions. What emotions are we feeling? What emotions are we allowing to come into our field for too long, right? It's okay, like, feel stuff, absolutely. Emotions are valid, feelings are valid, but don't buy into them, don't get stuck with them, don't make them a story, right? But we have to feel through stuff, so that's understandable. But don't let it get stuck in you anywhere for too long, because then it could cause something. But so be mindful, be aware of what emotions you are feeling, and start working with them to clear them, to release them, to heal them, to forgive them, have compassion, etc. Whatever works for you, right? Do that, because you want to your energy field, all the bodies, physical, emotional, mental, spiritual bodies, to be clear and full of light, right? And so when there's issues, wounds, etc., there's grayness, like you were talking about in the sacral, right? They're not as light filled as we would like them to be. Yes. Right? So we can do the work, the MP3s, the light language, the coasters, the calls with Zeenat, they will all help you to start releasing some of those issues, energies that no longer serve you, so that you can start to, or if you are thriving, thrive even more, but you can start to thrive in all areas of your life, not just one or two, right? So we are multidimensional beings having different interests in our lives, right? And so, all of our issues, all aspects of our life have to be looked at, and they all have to be thriving, I think, not just one or two areas, right? So it's important to do the work, release, but at the same time, gentleness, being gentle with your body, being gentle with yourself, and loving and accepting yourself. And this is why we have these wonderful speakers come on to give us the tools, give us the resources, give us the support that we need, because we can't always do it on our own. And we don't have to do it on our own. Okay, so always know that support is always available in some format, right? Zenith, any
Absolutely.
other last words of wisdom, especially around that support piece? I feel like that is important for people to hear.
When we talk about support, it's like, to raise a child, we say you need a village.
Mhm.
And to heal, I think it needs more than village, it needs continent, and it needs every person walking on the space to contribute to our healing. Because as you mentioned also, it's just not self-healing, it's a mass healing.
Yeah.
And so everybody's contribution really helps. It's that when we are ready, willing, everything will show up. And I'm a personal example of this. Things will show up. It may not show up in the design that you have decided, but it will show up, which is required for your highest good.
Mhm.
So support is always there, and we are never alone.
Yeah.
We have this notion that we are alone, but we are never alone. It's not possible. It's not humanly possible. So we are never alone.
That's what I said just yesterday on my call, that we are never alone. Even though sometimes we think we're alone, we are never, it's not physically possible. I said the exact same thing.
It's just not possible. It's insane to even think about it.
Yeah,
We
exactly.
are always guided. We are always handheld. Even in the direction that you're going, even if that is a direction, there is some path. You have created that path and someone is there for you. So it's just not possible.
So Jill says, thank you for this wonderful call. I never understood light language, and Zeenat explained it so well. Very enlightening. Oh, good. I'm so glad. I knew there was a reason why I wanted her to talk about it. Thank you, Jill. And Manisha says, the right people always show up at the right time. Right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And that's about being in the flow, right? And being in allowance of what's going to show up, who's going to show up, how's it going to show up, right? Everything shows up at the right time, the right people, the right everything. So
Everything.
yeah,
The situation will be also the right situation you'll be put into.
Yeah, for your highest good. And that's what we have to always remember.
Absolutely.
It's always for your highest good. Everything is always working for your highest good, not to punish you or anything like that. It's for your highest good. So always be willing to receive the wisdom of that. Awesome.
Absolutely.
Thank you. This was wonderful, Zeenat. I just so love talking to you.
So
I
much.
was like, it's so much fun. There's always such a wonderful, expansive experience and call and information. Oh, love it. Thank you. And
Thank you so much. God bless everyone. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Thank you everybody for being here with us today and sharing this space. And for those of you on Facebook land, thank you for being here as well. Thank you, Kristen. Kristen said the call was awesome. Yes, I knew it would be. Thank you for saying so. Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. Thank you. The email will go out later. So you can watch the video on Facebook for now until the weekend, but you will have the audio, the podcast that you can listen to again if you'd like, and all the information in the email coming up. Okay, so just in case you're going to YouTube wondering where is the interview with Zeenat, it'll be there on the weekend. Right now we cannot because my channel is blocked for a week. So it is what it is. It's all good. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Until next time, may you continue to be blessed with an abundance of joy, peace, love, happiness, prosperity, and radiant health. Sending you all much love and blessings always. Thank you so much, Zeenat. Much love and blessings.
Bye-bye. God bless you.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Bye.